Hello, my beautiful souls, and welcome. So, today this is going to be a little bit different. I don't even know where to begin, but I know that my guides were trying to show me something. And I just couldn't see where they were going, what they were trying to tell me, what they were trying to show me. And what I knew was that life was mirroring back to me, that there was something I just didn't quite get. And you know, it's always those things where like you feel that something is a little bit off, or something is just not going the way you want it to go, and you just don't know why. And maybe you can hear it, probably you can hear it, my voice is a little bit unstable. And that has a lot to do with what they were trying to show me. I started this YouTube channel with not really much of a plan, I have to admit. It is my second channel. I had another one, it was in German, and I felt like, okay, I need to open up. Because it just was going nowhere. It was completely stagnant. And I felt like, okay, I have to open up. I have to make this a bigger thing. To have the courage to do that in English, which is not my first language, and to... Also, I knew that there's a collective out there that I am here to connect with, and that I'm here to work with in some form or another. What that work would look like wasn't completely sure. Like, it wasn't completely obvious to me, and I'm not completely sure if it's even decided yet. I think this is very much a thing about co-creation and us finding each other and gathering together and sharing our gifts and sharing our dreams, our desires, our experiences. And I know that I'm, this is so hard for me to talk about, and it's also because it's so unclear in my head that I feel like I'm just rambling, and I don't know where to start. I don't know where to go, which thread to follow. And so I did start doing readings and channelings because there's a red thread in there, there's something I can grasp onto, I can follow along, and I know I'm guided. I'm guided through this. With this what I'm here to share today, and what like this whole message is about today, there's no guidance. Like, my guides are like, this is your thing. You're on my own. You're on your own, love. They were showing me where to look. They were showing me that something wasn't quite right because I wasn't able to see. And they were trying to like give me the right nudges in a direction so that I could finally see. And we are in a Mercury retrograde, so diving deep these days. Okay, you're probably completely confused. You're like, okay, what's all of this? What's all this about? And yeah, now you know how I feel, or how I felt for the last few days, weeks actually. Like, what's all of this about? I just don't, I don't get it. I don't get it. Because usually I'm very good with working with life, with how things are mirrored back to me, and then I know where to look, I know what to do. But this one is a tricky one. It's a deep one, and it's about what I want to do with my life, how I want to spend my time on Earth, and how I want to live my purpose. So, just that, nothing more. And yeah, sure, and that's why my guides are saying, hey, that's your thing. That's not our job, and actually, it's a huge part of the lesson you have to learn right now is you can decide for yourself what you want to do, and you also have to be your own sovereign being in terms of listening to what's in your heart, and to follow that. And I actually have a quote in my YouTube biography from Paulo Coelho. I never know how to pronounce him. From The Alchemist. I don't remember the English phrasing. It's something about like, you just listen to your heart because it comes from the world soul, and it will return there. And this, like, there's all you know. All you need to know is inside of yourself. So yeah, I'm probably still not making a lot of sense. You know, the thing is, when I started this channel, the vision I had, like, there was not a lot of vision I had. Like, the one vision I had was me sitting there with a cup of coffee and talking to you guys. Talking about life, about how we experience life, and what it means to live a fulfilled life in co-creation with spirit, with my higher self, with my soul. What it means to live a soul-led path. I'm always calling it soulful living. And that was actually that is actually what my goal for life is. And I was just talking about that in another video the other day, where I said, I just don't care about goals anymore. And I realized that actually I just want to live. And I just want to live without being caged in. I want to be free. I want to have fun. Not just, you know, like, oh, I want to have fun and chase fun and never go deep. And I don't know if you've seen any of my videos of my readings, that you know I'm everything but not deep. So I want the depth, but I also want the ease, the going with the flow, and you know, those are all like phrases, we've heard them a million times, but it's, for me, it's just this inner knowing, this inner, like, this state of being, and just it's more like a dance with life. And the funny thing is, like I said, I'm good at reading life. I'm good at communicating with life. I'm good at interpreting what is mirrored back to me. And that was a huge part of my journey and of my coming of age as a spiritual person, to recognize my gifts, to recognize how I've actually always done that my whole life. I just didn't. If you asked me like 10 years ago if I'm a spiritual person, I would just say like, no, I don't even know if there is something like a God, or like I considered myself to be an agnostic. Looking back now, I'm like, girl, you were always a pretty tapped in spiritual person, but you just didn't view yourself through that lens. And that was part of my journey. That was just how I became the person who I am today. Like my whole life shaped me so that I could be something that now comes into her fullest expression, and to again go into co-creation with the universe, with spirit, with my soul, but also with the collective that I know I'm here to connect with. And it's so funny because I always I want to go to a certain, I want to make a certain point, and then I can tell I'm circling, I'm still circling around it. Maybe that's it's probably something that I can tell something inside of me is like squirming. So yeah, I've always been an overachiever. And if you look at my life, you probably wouldn't even, like at first glance, it doesn't even look like that, because I'm not the stereotypical overachiever, in a sense of like that I have, I don't know, a medical degree with summa cum laude or something like that. Like, that's not the way I am an overachiever, but I always did the things I loved because everything else was just blocked. Like there was something inside of me that would always go into complete rebel mode when I was forced to do something that I didn't enjoy doing, that I had no passion for. But when I had passion for something, I would be exceptionally good at it. And that made me an overachiever because I, for one, I grew up in a family that was like most of it. Like I don't think that there is like one person out there who's on the kind of journey on that we are on, like a deep spiritual searching that does not like that has like, oh yeah, I had a happy childhood, everything's fine. I think I haven't met that person yet. Because there's something about pain and something about experiencing the absence of love. Absence. The absence of love that teaches you a lot, and it teaches you how to embody love and at first search for love, trying to find love, And in that search and in that looking for it, that's actually what shapes you on that journey. It's what keeps you going, because there is like this deep longing for the experience of love, of union, of being in this deep connection with, and that's the thing, right? At the beginning, we think it's about other people. It's about our parents. It's about our friends. It's about our lovers. It's always about somebody else. And the spiritual journey, it kind of teaches you that in the end, it's always about the love to self, the love to source, and the discovery that source is the self. The self is source. I digress again. So what I was saying, that, yeah, I came from a family, like I had a narcissistic parent, and many of you, like I said, like many of you know what it means to have those kinds of close relationships in your life, what they do to you. And in my case, it was, like I said, becoming an overachiever, always having to fight for love, for attention, for acknowledging that you're good at something. And that were like those little moments where I would just get appreciation when I did something exceptional. And I didn't even always get that. But when I did, it felt like the closest thing to love that I could ever, that I could get at that moment. So I guess that is what taught me in the early stages of my life, what love is about like you have to achieve something, you have to do something to be recognized for, and that is when you get like a little bit of love back. And that was like, I spent, I think, the last 12 years to like unravel that kind of thing, to, I want to say, get it out of my system. And sometimes it feels like that. It feels like something like I need to get this out of my system. Right now it does, to be honest, because I've come such a long way, and I know that I'm not the person anymore, and I know better. I know better, and I showed myself over and over and over again that this is not what I believe anymore. This is not what love is, and still there are those moments in life where you can see, just like, okay, there's like this belief, it's planted, like it's so deep inside of you that it keeps popping up. And this YouTube channel is one of those things. It's one of those things. Because even though I tell myself it's not about the numbers, it's not about like how people react, and for a huge part that's true for me, but there's still like this little part inside of myself that believes that I have to deliver something of value, that I have to give you something, that I have to do something in order to be of value to you, and in the end to be loved for that. Like, there is still this little girl inside of me that just wants to be loved. Like, each and every one of us has that part inside of us. And you have no idea how uncomfortable it makes me feel right now to talk about that. But I also feel that this is important, and that this is like, I'm getting to the heart of things. And I didn't even realize this until now, me talking about it. So that's the reason why I started doing readings and channelings. Although I actually, like I said, I had this vision of just like sitting there with my coffee and talking about what's on my mind. That was what I set out to do. And I felt like, why would anybody want to listen to that? Why would anyone be interested in me? Like, in what I have to say, what I have to share about me, about my life, about my experiences. I need to give them something that is of obvious value to them, like a reading where I talk about you. And the funny thing is, like, everybody has their core wounds, right? And so for some people, when they do something like YouTube and they start out on the journey, and they start doing something like that, and then they blow up, and suddenly they get attacked by people. Like, they have those experiences of very loud, very aggressive people coming at them, cybermobbing, that kind of stuff. For me, it's the exact opposite. It's silence. And silence is a huge part of my life. It has been there forever. And it's like my deepest wound of just being left in silence. It was something one of my parents would do, to just keep us in silence, not talk to us for days, for example. And out of nowhere, suddenly they would just like start talking again, like nothing happened. And you never knew when it would happen and why. There was just no consistency. So this is what I experienced with all the relationships in my life. And this is what I'm experiencing with this YouTube channel now, again. And my first knee-jerk reaction is to double down and produce more content and to produce more readings and all of that stuff, to, again, go into overachiever mode. And it's tricky because if you do something like that, like I said, I always did things that I had a passion for. I love doing readings and I'm good at it. I know that. But it's not what I'm here to do, like I can do it if I want to, and I will. But at the same time, I was probably doing it for the wrong reason, which was, I thought that's what works on YouTube. That is what people want from me. So I'm here to give it to them. But I was met with not always, like that's the thing. It was again this back and forth, and sometimes I would get like so much love back and great reactions to the videos, and sometimes it's just like barely any views and just silence. And like I said, this is something I've dealt with my entire life, and I consciously worked with that theme in my life for years now. And I unraveled like most of it, I'd say. But here it is again. And I just, like I said, I just didn't know what to, like, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I don't know I just cannot see. And my guides were trying to get through to me. And I got those invitations about, why don't you just share your story? Why just don't you start talking about yourself? I was like, talking about myself? No way. Nobody wants to hear about me. Why would they? Why would they not? I hear them answering right now. I think like I can feel them right now standing there, like giving me like a how do you say, like clap on my back, like well done. Yeah. I don't know if this message makes any sense. I don't know if it served me. That's for sure. It served me. And this is such a, simply to say, well, it served me. I don't know if it served any of you, but it served me. It feels so wrong to me. This feels so wrong to me to simply like to just say that. Okay, what keeps coming back, and I don't know if I finished my thought there earlier, probably not, is this thing about overachieving. And if you do something that you love, if there's like a passion for it, it's tricky. It's tricky to not slide into, again, like this, in my case, in this overachieving thing. Because I can still tell myself, yeah, I'm doing something that I love. I'm here with my passion. I like what I do. And that is why the silence is there, to show me that there's still something I need to see, that there's still something my ego is covering up. And, that's the thing. Like when the further we progress on our journeys and in our self-healing, and the more we know ourselves, the more the ego knows itself, and the more the ego is capable of like this disguising what is the actual thing. Like the spiritual ego is especially tricky, I'd say. Or the more enlightened ego, like the ego who just, well, I know this, I get this, I'm so self-aware, I'm so well aware of everything. So we need something in our life that mirrors back to us what is still in the depth of our unconscious, because that is what we cannot see. That is what our ego does not want us to see. And so I'm grateful for the experience, but at the same time, of course, it doesn't feel good. And that's another thing, right? It's funny because if it was that easy, like we're always hearing in this, like this whole spiritual bubble, just simply follow your heart. Simply follow your heart. And like follow your joy, follow what feels good. But it's not that easy. It's not always what feels good, what is actually the right way. Recording this message, it doesn't feel terrible, but it's definitely not where I say, wow, this is like, I can tell that something inside of me is happening, and I'm like, I don't know where this is going to lead. I don't know if like what comes after this. I have no idea. But like there's something inside of me that knows that this is the right way to go. And it doesn't feel like joy. It doesn't feel like excitement. It's just a radical truth inside of me. And that does not always feel good. Maybe that's something, it feels like that's something that needs to be said. Because there's so much stuff out there, like so much spiritual, quote unquote, wisdom thrown around. And it sometimes really leads us down the wrong path because it's not that simple. It's not always that simple. Yeah. So maybe somebody needed to hear that. I don't know. All right. I feel like my task for today is done. I will see where this is going to lead from here on. Like, I have no idea. And that is actually what my life is at in general right now. There's only one thing I know, and that is that with the last day of this month, I'm going to move out of my apartment, and then there's just no plan at all. There's nothing. There's this, again, like the nothingness. I don't know what's waiting for me. And it feels exciting and it feels terrifying at the same time. And yeah, we will see. We will see where this is going. All right, my loves. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for holding space. And I don't know what else to say. I'm just I will see where this is going, and I would be happy if you join me in this journey wherever this is going. So I send you all my love. I send you I send you love. That's all I can think of right now. I hope you're doing well, and hopefully we will see each other in the next video. Until then, take care. Bye.